One of the reasons you weren't very good at maths, or felt you weren't, was that maths wasn't terribly honest to you. One of the things you see maths invariably does is introduce new sorts of numbers, the backwards numbers. Numbers like minus, or fraction, or thirds, or logarithms, that are designed to be the reverse of certain processes. So you have adding, that's the forwards function. You have the inverse function, as it's called, subtraction. But you have minus numbers that do exactly the same as the inverse function. Okay? Or, easier perhaps to understand, fractions. Fractions are all about timesing and dividing, so that the times by half is the same as the divide by 2. Okay? They are the backwards number, if you like, to timesing, and perform the same task as division. Why maths does this is rooted in history. It basically frees it up. It means that you never need the backwards processes, because nobody likes subtraction, nobody likes division, and very, very few people like square rooting. It allows you, if you like, a different way of understanding it, and a way of avoiding doing it, which I'll show you another time. Okay? But the real problem with these numbers is that they're brilliant for what they're defined for, and open up difficulties for what they're not defined for. So if you take, for instance, subtraction, minus numbers. Minus numbers are all about debt. You know as well as I do, if you owe your mate 10 quid and you borrow another 5 quid off him, you now owe him 15 quid. Debt minus numbers provide a way of writing that down and understanding it very neatly. If you owe your mate 15 quid and you pay him back 20 quid, he's meant to pay you back 5 quid change. Easy peasy, pudding and pie. Minus numbers do it very well. They get more complicated when you're timesing them, because there they follow the laws of logic. If I tell you there are no biscuits in the jar, I probably mean there are some biscuits. Humans get ambivalence there, maths doesn't. So the negative numbers there, 2 negatives make a positive. Not no, minus minus. They're following the rules of logic, and so it goes on. The problem often comes, though, with these numbers is when they are forced to do functions that are kind of lower in the pecking order than them. So, for instance, fractions are wonderful to times and to divide, but they're generally pants to add and subtract. And that's just the way of it. Thirds are brilliant to use for square rooting, but you can't add and subtract them at all, and timesing and dividing is a challenge. With a number, then, you have to understand why it is invented to do and what it is invented for, and why that matters.